A TikTok user named Caesar in MP is piloting a plane when he sees an oddly terrifying unknown flying object skimming the clouds. Just below, the tiny circular object appears to have no propellers and emits no exhaust. It looks like it's moving extremely fast, but keep in mind Caesar is passing it in his own aircraft, so its exact speed is unknown. A regular civilian drone could not move at this rate of speed, and its design looks more complex than a regular drone. So what do you think? Secret project? Or something from someplace much farther away than Earth? Bogdan Riva of a Russian YouTube channel called Lost World has become obsessed with exploring an abandoned haunted apartment building. Paranormal activity here is hard to catch for a person, so he sets up cameras to see what scary stuff is caught on video. While he's in his car, one of his cameras picks up footsteps in a room with a creepy doll. Whether this doll is related to the paranormal activity is unknown, but I wouldn't be surprised if there was a correlation between the two, because just look at the scary thing.
Еще прошло около 2 часов, и так ничего и не происходит, ничего необычного. Единственные какие-то непонятные шумы, какие-то непонятные звуки.
He returns to the house and, not knowing what he's caught on tape, declares this paranormal investigation to be a failure.
Происходит, мне кажется, просто либо ветер, просто либо...
He goes into the next room only to find a large, heavy shelf has been thrown to the ground by an angry poltergeist. The sight fills him with dread, but it isn't until a few seconds later that he sees something over his shoulder that makes him run with fear. I can't say I see anything here at 18 minutes, and maybe he doesn't either. It could have been a bad feeling more than anything that made him run. All I know is that I agree this house is beyond creepy, and he should get out of there. Anything that throws a shelf could easily do the same to him. This phantom is ready for high tea. Published in January of 2022, Sylvia C. writes that she was quietly watching TV when her resident ghost startled up the tea kettle. The security footage shows the electric tea kettle in the kitchen, apparently turned on by the spirit. It shuts off and Sylvia enters the kitchen and asks why it put the kettle on.
Spirit in the kitchen, what are you trying to tell me? Why did you do that?
The spirit answers rudely in response by throwing a pot lid across the kitchen. Some viewers suggest to Sylvia to keep a detailed log of each of the paranormal events she experiences, including the date and time and her response to them. Others suggest having the house blessed to remove the entity. If you were in Sylvia's shoes, what would you do? I'd be looking to move as soon as possible. This apartment has a rogue poltergeist on the loose, and Seeker of Ghosts has come to tame it. First, the poltergeist demands that you wash your hands. In fact, he's pretty adamant about it. He then takes another tack. And later shuts the investigator in. Bored, he switches the TV on. Then this happens. After that, it's no holds barred. Later, as the investigator talks to the camera, the poltergeist becomes the director.
Я пока в таких догадках, что
I don't know about you, but I don't think the taming is working yet.
Alright guys, I'm gonna show you one of the reasons we hate this house.
There's a YouTuber named Not Your Average Wife, who apparently does not live in your average home either. Her dog Catherine absolutely refuses to go down the steps leading to their basement, follow the dog's eyes because I think it might be seeing something down there that none of us can.
Catherine, come on baby. Come on pretty. Come on baby.
Not even a nudge from behind can convince Catherine to go down the stairs.
Come on Catherine.
And just to prove it's not a general fear of steps, they show her using different stairs without a problem. Maybe the dog almost fell down basement steps or something and is now afraid of them. At least that's the only non-paranormal explanation I can think of. And if it is paranormal, based on how Catherine is acting, it must be something sinister in that basement. What's in the sky over Medellin, Colombia? Lorna Mascura shares this video of a dark unknown object aloft in the clouds. Let's take a look.
Okay, I have it in 4K mode now. Like the iPhone, I'm filming on iPhone 13 Pro. I need to zoom more. Guys, what the is that?
The object is far away and it's hard to make out any details from this clip, but it appears dark and doesn't look like it's moving. He captures the surroundings and returns to the unidentified flying object.
Honestly, I'm still... Is it a weather balloon, right?
This time it looks like a square or cube. A moment later, a plane passes at a distance.
Like, look, there's a plane. There's a plane because we have an airport here, like to the left, to the right, to the right of it. What is that?
The object remains still in the sky for nearly 3 minutes of the clip. Everyone in the comments is completely perplexed by this video, as am I. I have no clue what it could be. It does not look like a weather balloon at all, and I have no other theories considering it doesn't move. Share your ideas in the comments. Behind this bed, there used to be a door. Look closely to the left of the lamp here and you'll see the outline where it was painted over. There's just one problem. Apparently something on the other side doesn't understand that this is no longer a passageway. The knocking sounds polite yet urgent, definitely human. It really does sound like someone who believes that they belong in this room and expects to be let in at any moment. It seems like her problem is not going to go away on its own anytime soon. I really wouldn't want to see what's inside of that wall, but it might be the only way to end the problem for good, or maybe make it way worse. A nice looking kitchen in the middle of the afternoon is probably one of the least scary settings possible. Well, I thought so too until this 3-second video proved me wrong. We've all jumped out from around a corner before to scare someone, but I've never really seen a YouTube video create that same feeling until this one. I have to give credit to Tyler1 for keeping the video as basic as possible and still getting the job done. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Purgatory Adventures. This redditor wrote, "Check out this crazy scream we captured while spending the night in a haunted location in Saskatchewan, Canada." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Yeah. Kick it again. Yeah, I can see the lights.
The lights, Kate.
There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Lady Mania wrote, "I barely hear a scream. I only hear regular noises and the two people talking." Well, Corn TJE wrote, "Sounds like a cat in my opinion. Did you hear the scream the uploader is talking about? If so, what do you think is causing it? Let me know in the comments." Imagine being alone in your house when a toy starts speaking over and over again, like someone is rapidly pressing its button. That's exactly what happened one day to a YouTuber named Melinda Wolf Miller with her child's Mickey Mouse toy. She bravely took out her phone and started recording. The toy makes some low noises at first, but once she says something about it, it apparently becomes very aggressive and starts growling in response.
Something is in the toy box is possessed.
It almost sounds like the toy is saying somebody in between snarling. I don't think that the two toys on top of Mickey Mouse are heavy enough to activate the bottom, so I'm honestly not sure what's happening here. I have no idea about the date, time, or location of this video. All I know is that it's supposedly been uploaded to the deep web because the original uploader didn't want to be tracked by the federal government in retaliation for getting their story out. A large bright blue object is quietly claiming the night sky outside of an apartment complex.
What is this? What is that?
After a while, the sky blob stops in place and begins to expand outwards. Whatever it is, by the end of the video, it seems to take up nearly half of the sky. If this is real, then we probably would have never known any of this had ever happened without the anonymous deep web. A YouTuber named Talk to Trending records a ghost video in Tamil, India at a haunted fort. An extremely powerful spirit is said to reside here, and the ghost hunters can't resist the chance to explore the abandoned building for paranormal traces.
நான் என்னோட கேமராமேன்ட்ட போறேன். நான் இங்க தனியா நின்னுட்டு இருக்கேன். சுத்தி சத்தம் ஏதோ மூச்சு வாங்குதே.
As they talk more about the haunted place, a ghostly apparition materializes behind them. It looks to be in the shape of a person wearing robes from head to toe, and when it moves out of sight, the ghost hunter looks over his shoulder where it would have been. I think this could be his paranormal sixth sense kicking in to keep him safe, but this could also simply be the way his flashlight plays against the stone wall behind him. Although it's weird that it takes such a human-like shape, tell me what explanation you think is true. Bree Calderon gets an alert from his home security system. The motion sensor camera has caught some weird things on tape over his table. Meanwhile, a small light is by the door that he can't explain. According to Bree, the ghost is moving towards an urn off camera that contains the cremated remains of his grandmother. That would be terrifying, but there's no way to tell if any part of this story is actually true. With that said, the strange mist might actually be some small picture distortion, but this visual glitch wouldn't be enough to set off the motion detector. Basically, I can't fully explain this video, so this might actually be paranormal. While exploring an abandoned place, this paranormal crew found a demonic doll. What followed next was shocking. Published by Toppy in December of 2021, Sergey takes this rickety staircase into the attic where he finds this creepy doll. After handing the doll to Nastya, they decide to take it with them. Sergey says they sat in the haunted home for 15 minutes and heard noises that were unfortunately not recorded. It's unclear if their cameras malfunctioned or what went on, but they have decided to try and communicate with the spirits through the doll. After the doll tells them let's play, the pair decide to pack it up and head home. But before they do, this happens. Is this doll truly possessed? Or was it just exorcised of its demons? This YouTuber isn't sure if deep web mystery boxes are real or not, so he buys as many of them as he can as an experiment of sorts. Sure enough, some of them don't have anything weird inside at all, while others look as though they were packaged by a complete psycho. Take this dirty stuffed animal that's been stuffed with even dirtier stuffed animals, for instance. In the very last one is a pill container, presumably for smuggling purposes. The creepiest package of all is full of abused dolls. It looks like it was made by someone with serious problems. You can see how they cut off the doll's fingers one by one here. Then they made this children's pop-up book filled with occult symbiology.
No. No.
Then they are about to throw the whole box away when suddenly a yellow Teletubby doll with a burnt face grabs their attention. Listen to the sound it makes and tell me how this noise is even possible. At this point, he's seen enough and decides not to open any more boxes. The only problem is at least several more are heading to his address in the mail. What is this creature? Please, writes a YouTuber named Terriana, to which I have but one question in return. Why are you still in front of it? I would have been long gone. Seriously though, it looks like some kind of toxic caterpillar, except here's the thing. This video was caught on camera on a boat while out at sea. I think we can all agree that the creature is covered in fur, something I've never seen on any deep sea creature caught on tape before, and it's really bizarre. This video was posted in 2007 and I couldn't find anything else like it, so I'm not sure what this mysterious deep sea creature is. I think it's laying on its side and normally crawls along the lighter colored bottom portion. Hopefully those long protrusions up and down its body are hairs and not sharp quills. A YouTuber in Italy named Alessio Rubes is experimenting with a homemade Ouija board that apparently works far better than he thought.
C'è qualcuno che vuole parlare con me?
His ghost hunting app goes off at the exact moment his dog goes on full alert, and then things get scarier from there.
Oh! No, raga. Lo starà a vedere, raga?
Alessio leaves the room to investigate, and his dog literally screams at something in the hallway. He turns around to find the light 2 rooms over is mysteriously moving on its own. He spends a moment calming down the poor pup who is now cowering under a chair and looks very scared indeed, further lending legitimacy to this already creepy enough video. When he goes to investigate the light, he finds it still steadily moving. I don't see how you can fake that kind of reaction from a dog, so I think this ghost sighting video is real. A group of Bigfoot hunters are searching for clues deep in the woods when they come across something ominous glowing in the clear night sky.
Oh my goodness. See? 3. And in a different position.
3 orbs appear to form a mysterious triangular pattern off in the distance. Every once in a while, the light on top gets extremely bright and then fades away. They can't figure out what these lights are, and I'm not quite sure either. Tell me if you think this was an alien sighting, or maybe even some sort of experimental aircraft. All I know is that if these bizarre lights really are a regular occurrence around these woods, then maybe the idea of Bigfoot isn't so far-fetched after all. What would you do if you came across this hairy humanoid in the wild? Published to YouTube in December of 2018, YouTuber Evangelica Salazar commented on the video. This is a duende. It's a humanoid creature that is rare and talked about throughout the years. These infamous creatures dress themselves and live in deep holes in caves/forests. If this is indeed a duende, this strange folkloric creature's name comes from the Spanish phrase duende casa, which means professor of a house. Some describe the creature as a mischievous house guest. However, in other cultures, the hairy beast takes various turns. If this hairy creature is really a duende, you'd better watch where you step. Is something living in this underground train station? Posted on the r/ghosts subreddit by Ben Taylor. The scary video shows the behind-the-scenes nature of the underground at Crewe Station in the UK. As the Redditor and his friend walk through the station, mysterious haunting noises echo through the underground, like a creature is roaring or wailing, like an animal. The roaring repeats over and over. The boys walk through a fenced-in area, and the sound gets louder, but its source isn't any more apparent.
It stopped. Do you not hear it? Stop.
Yeah.
The sound repeats and then changes a little, causing the cameraman to turn around and hightail it out of there. It stops for a moment, but then continues again as they decide to retreat.
Come on, I'm going because we've got to do tricks anyway.
The Redditor writes, the area was checked for dogs, animals, and even an injured security guard by transport police, as the noise was causing the staff to stay away from the area. No dogs, no humans, no pipes were there for the dog to stick its nose in. A howl down, and security informed us nothing was found the next day, but the noise returned the next night. One Redditor in the comments, Nululus, says it might be a small deer species that's an invasive breed in the UK called the muntjac deer. Others still think it's an injured dog or a piece of machinery, but the Redditor seems to lean toward the paranormal, as he says other employees have heard strange noises and seen unexplained objects moving. We could make theories all day, but it's only the Redditor and his co-workers who witnessed it in person. So if they're saying it's paranormal, I think that explanation makes the most sense to me. It seems these poltergeists have left their group project until the last minute, published by Amar Ajola in September of 2014. This scary video caught some paranormal activity in a computer lab in Delhi's Karkardoma court. The footage shows a man sitting in a computer lab. He appears to be waiting to capture some strange activity on his camera, and then it happens. One computer monitor turns on, after another. They each turn on in their own time across the lab. No one else is in the room, so the mysterious behavior of the monitors is unnerving. Some think it's a prank using remote activation. Others think it's a ghost programmer needing to complete a project. Many note the orb activity in the video. Are these the entities that are present? It's certainly seeming that way to me. The next time you gaze up into the serene night sky, you might experience a feeling of panic instead of peace. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by After Performance 2. The Redditor explains that these strange lights were seen in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina last year on July 19th. The lights were grouped in threes, and according to the Redditor, some disappeared before she could capture them on video. The video shows a trio of lights floating overhead in the sky, and a moment later, another trio closer to the horizon off in the distance. The sets of lights don't float in strict formation, but seem to each be wavering at their own pace. They then flicker and disappear. Redditor Professional Truck 3 suggests that these were paper lanterns lit and then launched from the beach, but the 70s Kids negates that, saying if these were lanterns, they'd drift apart. Well, some say the wind is obviously taking the lanterns in the same direction. After Performance 2 theorizes that they're all going to the same destination. Another Redditor, Buster Blevins, chimes in proposing that this is not necessarily a unique occurrence. He wrote, "Last Friday, a bunch of people saw something very similar to this in northern Wisconsin. The lights would appear in groups of 3, and it was as if there was a pattern that looked like the light was traveling in a circle around something. Any other theories as to what these strange lights could be? A Russian police officer is roaming the snowy countryside when he comes in close contact with a creature that has since never been identified. The officer is traveling at a low rate of speed when suddenly something huge dashes across his headlights. The strange figure is only visible for a moment, then it's gone. Many YouTubers suspect this to be a Russian Yeti. Others are sure that it's a man in a suit or even someone who is completely naked, though this theory is hard to believe because a person in Russia would probably freeze to death if they stood outside naked for very long. Look closely and you'll see that whatever it is, it's moving quite fast. It only takes the thing about 5 or 6 steps to fully get away, and I should mention that the snowbanks on both sides of the tracks appear to be very deep. An average sized person would be struggling way more to get over them. Zoom in and you'll see what looks to be white fur hanging off of its body. Also, it looks to be hunched over and its arms almost touch the ground. If this is a costume, it's very convincing. This port city in western Saudi Arabia looks like the aftermath of a building collapse, or else some kind of terrible eruption, but it's none of that. It's actually just starting and the worst is yet to come. The massive plume of smoke spreads evenly across the horizon, and at 1 minute and 15 seconds you briefly get a glimpse of where it finally ends. There's no outrunning this event and finding shelter is almost pointless. The cloud is growing taller by the minute as it heads towards them. The air is becoming gritty and it's getting harder to breathe. Vehicles desperately try to get away at the last second, but it's too late for any of them to get far, nor the cameraman for that matter, who seems resigned to his fate and makes no such attempt. This is a massive sandstorm, and if you haven't found shelter by now, you're in big trouble. The winds pick up and everything around him starts creaking unsteadily.
Yan, nandito na. Nandito na ang Sandstorm. Parating na. Sige.
Someone tell me what his last words are, and if you think he made it through this event.
Yan, oh. Hindi ka makakita.
Those are the last recorded moments before I assume the sand broke his camera. We may not get to see what happens next, but I doubt it was anything good. Either way, there's something about the possibility of this whole town getting buried alive that makes this video creepy beyond words. A TikToker named Erica R 1971 captures this full moon footage of a potential ghost sighting shortly after her father passes away. Knowing if this was a motion activated camera or not would have been a big help determining if this was a real sighting or just a glitch. If the camera really does turn on by itself like I think it does, coupled with the recent passing of her father, then I'd say this is almost definitely real. Flickering lights are one thing, but a switch visibly turning off of its own accord, that's a whole other story. Posted to the paranormal subreddit by Nutzak, the Redditor writes about this unexplained encounter that his brother caught on camera. According to Nutzak, his brother was home alone, likely checking on his family's dog Oscar, when suddenly the hallway lights started doing their own thing. He recorded the incident as it continued, and this is what he captured. Nutzak states that he lived in the house for 2 years and has always felt strange vibes, but never seen anything firsthand. He writes, "Now after watching the video countless times, I am stumped and believe there is something beyond our knowledge happening here. 2 switches control this hallway light. Both you can see in the video. One is right next to the guy and the other is at the end of the hallway on the left. According to Nutzak, you can see the light switch nearby turn about halfway down, which, as the Redditor writes, would be impossible to recreate. Next, it flicks off entirely, turning the hallway light off. This one you can see as clear as day. Some are all in with the paranormal theory, but there's always a skeptic among us. And this time it's Slick Air who states, a combination of loose wiring and a faulty switch can cause this. Others in the thread suggest not even faulty switches can flip off of their own accord. What do you choose to believe? Work. This spirit must have a presentation coming up. Redditor ZJOSA shares this video, which they say happened to a close friend while working late.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas desde allá de la esquina. Mira. Desde ese ruido estaba escuchando que se mueve. No mames.
The chair spins on its own. Many in the comments are skeptical and wonder why the woman started recording in the first place, but the Redditor has an answer for it.
Desde hace rato escuché que se estaban moviendo las cosas desde allá de la esquina. Mira. Desde ese ruido estaba escuchando que se mueven las cosas, en serio. No mames.
Many others say her fearful reaction seems legit. I don't want to dismiss this too quickly because I agree that her reaction seems real. I'm going to reserve judgment on this one. Which side are you on here? Number 7. Rain and Geno of Sinister RP return to finish a paranormal grudge. One that began at the cemetery. A haunted apartment that they are left with. 3 days ago is when they went exploring here for the first time. The Boyd Cemetery, somewhere in Canada. That's when a ghost decided that if they wanted to explore its home, then it's only fair to explore theirs. Later that night, they are able to make spiritual contact by using a ghost hunting app. The creepy conversation does not go well.
Can you tell me your name? If there is anything following me, you are not allowed to anymore.
The voice of a ghost named Ernest is followed by the sarcastic voice of a little ghost girl who says too bad at the very notion of banishing them. Ernest too sounds sarcastic when he says goodbye.
I said goodbye.
Their replies occur in real time and make sense, so they could have been actual EVPs from the other side. Rain and Geno are not the type to be intimidated in their own home, and so they bravely return to the cemetery 3 days later for a final showdown, but the ghost's voices only mock her as she scorns and warns them.
Please do not follow us home. You are not allowed to follow us home. You are not allowed to attach yourselves to us or anything that we have here. We are going now. Goodbye.
The spirits don't sound very convinced, and as they back out of the Boyd Cemetery in silence, they think they catch a glimpse of a fiendish figure crouching behind a marker, perhaps old Ernest himself. That's not part of the architecture in my opinion. It only looks more supernatural and creepy when you zoom in. Perhaps coming back here has done more harm than good. Sinister RP believes they have caught a real ghost sighting caught on camera. Tell me if you agree with their paranormal evidence, or if you have an alternative explanation. Central State Insane Asylum in Indianapolis has many secrets. Published to YouTube by D. Holmes12345 in October of 2006. This is an orb video. But hold up, don't change the video. While a lot of the times orbs caught on video appear to be faint and dust-like, this one is different. The large glowing orb is seen behind a fence at the end of a walkway. The orb hovers and then starts floating to the right as the man filming backs away, startled. Some in the comments are all in, saying this is what a legit orb looks like. Others are convinced it's a light reflecting off of something. Others note that, while you're distracted by the orb, something peeks out at the door at the beginning of the video. Watch again, do you see it? Considering these two figures appear in just 14 seconds of video, it's pretty clear this asylum is a hotspot for paranormal activity. This building is teeming with poltergeists, and YouTuber Han Kardashler is about to face off with them. They throw the first punch as soon as he enters, and they don't let up. They continue as he moves around the building.
Şaka mı bu ya? Gassal. Uf. Oğlum nereden geliyor sesin? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
But he doesn't leave until they become more aggressive. What do you think? Would you stick around in here? I think there aren't many worse places to be. Brian Guerra is ready for anything as he opens his $200 mystery box that just arrived from eBay. Inside, he finds a wide assortment of miscellaneous items ranging from clothes to kids' toys. Then he comes across this can of WD40 oil and has the exact same thought that I had when I first saw this video.
It's actually pretty sweet. Is it actually WD-40 though? I don't even want to spray it.
Against his better judgment, Brian leans forward and attempts to discharge the can's contents.
Is it broken? Ew.
Instead of a normal spray, some sort of mysterious substance oozes out and gets all over his finger. The substance looks like oil, but I'm not sure. I'm confident that it wouldn't be too hard for someone to empty a can like this one and replace it with whatever chemical mixture they wanted to. So I hope that Brian is okay. Let me know if this is just what an old can of WD-40 does after a while, or if he accidentally came into contact with a potentially toxic substance in the woods while on a Rando Nautica adventure. YouTuber Exploring with Angelo and his team encounter a dangerous cult in the middle of the snowy woods. Will they be able to make it out? Let's find out. Angelo first senses that someone is watching them.
I think I saw something move down there. Hello? Yeah. What the f? Wait, I just heard something growl.
As they continue finding clues, viewers notice a small speck of light in the distance behind Brad.
So you just keep your cassette player on you? I mean, it makes sense because you continually keep finding these.
Did you see it too? Well, that may be a stretch. This next part isn't.
Bro. Dude. Holy
They need to go faster. Just when you think they got away from him.
Get the back! Stay the away from us.
We need to get the out of here. Let's go.
I think this experience would put me off of Rando Nautica for a while, or for life. Who knows what these madmen want. Whatever it is, I want no part of it. Number 5. A YouTuber named SPRT Life is going to investigate some train tracks that are rumored to be haunted by an inhuman creature. The tracks are reportedly hard to cross and very narrow. Numerous people are said to have been run over or fallen to their doom. They sneak past a fence and it isn't long before they hear strange noises from an unseen beast. They soon find a set of tracks elevated high off the ground. The bottom is pitch black and they can't even see how high up they are. One of them gets a little too bold and goes out a long distance.
No. We're not out that far.
No, if you look down, you're out that far, you'll die.
Then, as if right on time, the worst equipment malfunction possible occurs.
Oh my god. Alex, my light won't come back on.
Suspended high above ground in total darkness, this YouTuber hears a train horn.
There's a train coming. There's a train. Get your boots. Get your boots, Tyler.
The group of friends now blindly races ahead, desperately trying not to fall off the tracks or get run over. Finally, with the track fast approaching, they are forced to jump. As you can see here, they barely make it out alive as the train passes overhead. Fortunately, they had cleared most of the track, and it was only about a 5-foot drop instead of 30. The only thing that saved them that night was their own speed. As for what caused their flashlights to turn off, the group has little doubt that it was the very same creature that the legend spoke of. This CCTV footage appears to be from a market. A woman and a man are looking at produce when a stranger stumbles into the frame, reaches out his arm, and does something pretty terrible that I can't show here. The two people are obviously furious with his actions and attempt to take justice into their own hands. The stranger's actions were very creepy, and I wonder if this video evidence will be used to press charges. Another momentous visual history caught on live TV. The powerful image of the toppling of the Saddam statue in Firdos Square was broadcast all over the world, signaling what the Bush administration hoped would appear to be the end of what he started. Mission accomplished, only their involvement went on until December 18th, 2011, so not quite accomplished at that point. The moment was one of the scariest and most powerful caught on live TV. Iraqi civilians, some of whom theorists believe were paid, and US troops came together to tackle the imperialistic statue, marking what was supposed to be a symbolic moment in the lives of many Iraqi citizens. On international TV, it looked to be a moment of spontaneity. As it turns out, it wasn't as it seemed. According to investigations on the matter, tight focus shots used by the media suggested that the square was packed, when it wasn't. Most in the crowd were also not Iraqi, but rather Marines and journalists. Moreover, the flag and sledgehammer were supplied by the US. The act was not as spontaneous as it was reported. The footage suggested that all of Baghdad was enthusiastic of the toppling of Saddam, but this suggestion was inaccurate. According to Peter Mass, a journalist who was at Firdos Square on the day, they were ready to latch onto a symbol of what they believed would be a joyous finale. It was an unfortunate fusion, a preconception of what would happen, of what victory would look like, connected at Firdos Square with an aesthetically perfect representation of that preconception. Despite the illusionary nature of this event, this scary and iconoclastic visual is one of the most impactful caught on live TV. Meteors keep flying over Japan, and they keep getting weirder each time. This relatively normal one, spotted in February of 2013, looks to be on a downward course until it burns up in the atmosphere at the last second. Then just 1 year later, another one manages to get even closer, this time piercing a cloud. A solo exploration turns up some spiritual company in this abandoned factory. Published by Spooky Gautam in January of 2022, this ghost hunter explored the Vatican's factory on his own. As Gautam stands outside, taking the place in, a window shutter swings open. Does this foretell paranormal activity yet to come? Once inside, he is explaining his investigation of this place when the spirits make themselves known.
அதில் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா சின்னதாக வந்து அந்த விண்டோலாம் அசைஞ்சுது. அது வந்து மேபி வந்து காற்றுல கூட வந்து ஆடி இருக்கலாம் அப்படி தான் நான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஆனால் வர்றப்பே வந்து எனக்கு.
As he continues on, he hears more strange sounds.
Hello?
And later steps on something. What does this mysterious claw belong to? While examining it, another banging resounds. And another louder noise is heard while in this enormous hangar. It seems like he's being followed.
Super bhaiya. Thank you.
Gautam then spies a shadow figure in a darkened window of one of the buildings. The figure walks past, barely discernible in the darkness. He later sees this figure or another up close. When he sets his camera down to go and check it out, something takes out its rage on the camera. Are these spirits camera shy, or are they sending him the message that it's time to leave? A paranormal photo from Gary, Indiana seems to have caught something strange on camera. The silhouette of a ghostly figure that seems intent on burning down the house that it's been caught in for years. Even the comments seem ominous, with one person simply writing, "I live right next to Gary, Indiana, and this isn't the first time something paranormal happened in that town." Almost like they're talking from experience. When somebody wants to know more stories, they never get a response. Almost like the person has already said too much stuff that outsiders were not supposed to hear. Every day, this YouTuber has a neighbor challenge him to come outside of his apartment. to settle an imaginary score. Just to be completely clear, these people have never interacted before. This still doesn't stop her from bothering him outside of his door almost every day. At times it seems as if she imagines an answer from him. Like this part, for example. I think she hears something in her own mind, tells him to try it, and then hears another response that never happened.
Try it.
Perhaps weirdest of all is how the videos are dated throughout November and December, yet she always appears to be wearing the same outfit. Perhaps she is past the point of keeping basic hygiene habits and needs to be taken somewhere safe that can care for her. In the meantime, I hope she gets the help she needs. This place is terrifying. YouTuber Terror Alex Streamo encountered tons of paranormal activity at this haunted playground. First, they hear children's voices in the darkness, and then they see a swing swinging on its own. Next, another childlike voice is heard.
No manches. No manches.
Then something bangs against the roof above.
Whoa.
And the children's voices are heard again.
Pues es algo ilógico, ¿no? O sea, no está haciendo bastante aire como para que se esté moviendo de esa manera.
No, pues no está haciendo aire, hijo.
And again here.
Y mira, ahorita está como si nada.
Finally, they capture something visible on camera. Later, another figure is moving through the tall brush. I'm not sure if the figure is a child, but the voices throughout the video definitely sound like it. Is this a case of the urban legend of Blackeyed Children? I wouldn't get near enough to find out. Amityville House. The UK has its own version of the Amityville House, and Moxley's paranormal world is here to investigate it. Upon entering, Moxley immediately gets the creeps.
It just looks like something out of a classical.
In one of the rooms, a number of their devices are triggered.
Getting some spikes there. Do you not like us? Not like me sitting on the bed? Mate, it's going mad. Let me put it down. Alright, just...
Moxley notes an anomaly in this doorway, but I'm more interested in the whispers that I hear while he's talking at this moment. Listen closely.
But if I was you at first.
I moved and I feel somebody's right there with me. I mean, I swear to you, I feel like somebody's here. And then I hear shuffling then, like, pants shuffle.
Yeah.
Was it one of the other guys talking under him? But perhaps the most chilling occurrence during this investigation is what happens next.
What the hell is that?
Shh. Mate, that's down here. That's down here.
The guys search downstairs for the source of the scream, but find it empty. They decide to leave. I think that's the best thing they could do. That scream was terrifying, and who knows if it's real or something trying to lure them in. Number 20. Jade of YouTube channel Ghost Club Paranormal spends a night alone in the most haunted room of the Glen Tavern Inn. Cue all the spooky stuff. As Jade is describing the spirits here, the lights flicker off.
He's the one that's not supposed to be very nice. I don't know why the light just went out.
She captures some energies via the K2 meter. She starts to hear noises.
Then I get spikes on the K2 meter. Okay, now I'm hearing noises just all around the room.
And one even seems to happen in response to her request. The spirit appears to turn the flashlight on.
Alright guys, same thing. I have turned this flashlight off, and if any spirits want to turn it on by the time I get back, you can be my guest. I'm gonna leave now. Oh, okay. Oh my again, it was like...
Then a cowboy responds to Jade's questions.
Are there any cowboys with me in this room right now? Can you make a knocking noise? If there's any
And when she continues her communication with the spirit, it says hello.
This is so weird. Like, I feel like somebody keeps pulling on my tassel.
I've seen enough here to be certain that Glen Tavern Inn is haunted, and I think Jade has a finger on the pulse of the spirit. If you saw someone in a window just standing and staring, what would you think? Would you consider it abnormal? Would you be concerned about their mental state? These Lithuanians saw this strange staring man as cause for concern when they posted this video to their YouTube channel. Reposted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Martillo, the Redditor writes, couple of Lithuanian YouTubers are driving with other couple friends around the city and they come across this strange guy in his apartment. They're saying that he maybe is possessed. The windows in the building across from the Lithuanian's car are all darkened. Apart from one brightly lit window on the second floor, there stands a man appearing to stare out into the night, oddly still. Upon closer inspection, the man looks like he's rolling his head around before turning to the side and staring off again. He stares forward for a time, this having gone on for a solid minute, before turning around and switching off the light in his apartment. Likely because he notices the men outside are shining their light up at his window, watching him. Martillo notes that although the men in the video are laughing, the image of someone staring out their window blankly is somewhat scary. He says the behavior is strange. While that may be so, you could argue the same for the behavior of the occupants of this car. A YouTuber named Bay State Hockey watches nervously as a tornado takes shape one field over.
Yeah, it's right there. It's right there.
There it is. Oh my, Dad. That's
only a couple 100 feet away, Dad. Floor.
Just when it looks like they've outrun the first tornado, they see more problems ahead.
There's two.
There's like three.
There's three of them.
The only thing that saves them is the fact that the road just so happens to turn in the exact opposite direction as the tornadoes are forming. The YouTuber escapes alive, but I doubt this Florida family will ever forget the time they were wedged between three twisters and almost didn't make it. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Fighters travels to the same tunnel system as Dark Arts TV. He is explaining his nervous anticipation when a loud scrape occurs directly over his shoulder. No one is near him. You can tell by everyone's distant chatter that they are pretty far away. Listen for yourself and tell me if you agree no one else was nearby, at least no one alive.
This video is going to be far.
They all get a really bad feeling upon discovering what could be fragments of human. Look at this part and tell me if he is tossing a part of someone's jaw or just a random piece of debris. I was wondering if these could belong to an animal, but then they discover a large collection of combs left over top. Like this one, for example. So I think we may have sadly found our answer. They are ready to leave before they come across any other horrible discoveries, but something follows them. This extremely creepy low laugh follows them on their way out, while the rest of the audio remains the same. In fact, what's especially scary is how one of these girls lets out a small chuckle shortly before this noise comes out.
People like pulling the fire brigade.
Alright, so right now, our homie scared of spiders. We're trying to...
almost as if it's laughing in response. Listen for yourself and tell me if you think this is edited or not. Rando Nautica can sure be random, but then again it's eerily spot on. Published to YouTube in January of 2021, Chelsea Luna writes, "This is my first time trying Rando Nautica and I was so excited to have my friends Omar from Omar Gosh TV, James from The Fam, and Carlos from Carlos The Fam joining me on this adventure." And just like that, the adventure begins. They're driving along when something hits the back of their car.
What was that? What was that?
Bro, there's something just hit the back of the car.
It sounds like a rock or a pebble. They stop to see if something is back there, but they come up short. In the distance, something is heard. It sounds like coyotes or something.
You want a coyote?
Stop!
Whatever it is scares the group, and they hurry to get in the car and lock the doors. Later, as they're driving by a bunch of tires, a strange growl is heard.
Monster.
What is that?
What? You heard something?
It sounded like a growl.
Yeah, it sounded like a growl.
They continue on. A strange sound effect that the crew missed is heard in the background. It almost sounds like a disembodied voice is screaming, and it says, "You."
Oh, bro, you even said at the last look.
At one point, they're taken to the statue of an angel defeating a demon. Carlos says he was thinking about an angel, so this is a bit freaky that the app drew them here. Does this creepy adventure make you want to never use Rando Nautica again? Because that's definitely the case for me. Basements are built to house all the evils of the world. This basement is no exception. Published by YouTuber Mr. Vujade in February of 2012, this frightening basement monster will scare the living daylights out of you. The short clip sees our protagonist heading downstairs into a creepy dark basement. As he slowly searches the space, it appears empty, apart from a few piles of storage items, some bicycles, the usual suspects in a basement. But then suddenly he turns, which is when he is confronted by this. "I'm never going down there again," the YouTuber writes. Who can blame him? I don't think I could ever work up the courage to explore that basement. This Rando Nautica adventure is bound to lead to terror. YouTube team Terror Al Extremo is led to random coordinates, and it seems they are not alone. A voice quietly murmurs hello. Is someone following them? At another set of coordinates, it appears what's following them may be extraterrestrials.
Sí, sí, sí.
What was that light launching into the sky? An unidentified flying object? Or could there be some other logical explanation? The guys see another strange light in the darkness ahead.
No, es que no sabemos qué tan profundo esté. Ahí, mira.
No manches, ¿viste?
No, mira. Oye, ¿es cierto eso que está pasando?
¿Eso qué es? ¿Sí lo tienes en la cámara?
Pues estoy grabando hacia allá.
But I feel this one could simply be a remote house or a station on a hill. As for the other mysterious light and the quiet hello, I'm not so sure. This reportedly leaked video shows the inside of an underground base full of foreign equipment. Rows and rows of what appears to be storage tanks stretch as far as the eye can see, though exactly what's inside is anyone's guess. Look closely at these smooth pods and you'll see that each one contains the dark outline of something growing inside. It looks vaguely human, though its true form cannot be determined. The video's quality is very grainy and looks to be taken at least decades ago, if not longer. Experts have been unable to prove a concrete source for this video, meaning it's probably original. I think that a movie set like this would have cost a lot of money to design, so this is either a very high-budget amateur film, or most likely real footage taken by unknown people. Let me know what you think it is and be sure to provide more information if you have any. The adventurer Abdullah Al-Anbar heads to the Devil's House of Evil Horror, an abandoned house somewhere in Saudi Arabia that's haunted by a poltergeist, or also known as a jinn. It doesn't take the explorer very long to discover how the house got its nickname. Whatever is in here is beyond creepy.
Bismillah.
Much to his surprise, every door opens at the same time. It's like he's being invited inside.
Bismillah, Bismillah.
We all saw the door slam by itself, but I bet you didn't see this elusive shadow person crouch out of sight when he first enters at 5 minutes and 10 seconds. His flashlight begins to flicker as paranormal energy gathers all around. He can sense something malevolent is near. The door is slamming repeatedly by itself. No one is hiding on the other side. That's when the jinn tries to keep him here forever.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah. 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 Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. ايش اللي يسوي هنا؟ استغفر الله العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله بسم الله بسم الله.
Heavy footsteps follow him down the stairs as he bolts from the House of Evil. I'd say the house lived up to its name that night based on his paranormal evidence. Posted to the r/Chills Narrator subreddit, Redditor The Cheese is Moist writes, "If I'm tripping, then don't come at me in the comments, but is that star changing colors?" In the video, he zooms in on a star in the distance. The closer the zoom, the more clear it is that the star is rapidly changing colors. I've never seen a star ever do this before. Is it a satellite? Or is there something more nefarious at play here? The Martinez twins are both excited about moving into a new house with an old friend. They are arguing over which rooms belong to who, when one of them notices a locked door leading to an unexplored part of the house. None of them have a key, so they pick the lock and step into a plain room with an empty chair. The old chair gives off a creepy vibe. It must have belonged to one of the previous owners. They are talking about what to do with it when suddenly they notice an attic entrance that needs to be checked out. They forget about the chair for now and climb a wooden ladder into a darkened attic, even though the insulation is making them cough, and one false step could send them falling through the ceiling. The group is determined to get to the other side and see what they can find. A small box is waiting for them at the end of their crawl space, but they don't open it up right away, choosing to look at a pile of old magazines from the 1920s instead. When they turn their attention back to the box, they find this old mysterious broken thing inside.
Bro, there's like a toy, bro. It works from here. Wait.
The others try to stop him, but it's too late. An eerie song fills the empty dark attic space, perhaps for the first time in many years.
That's creepy. Bro, you wanna hold him? Oh wow, that's creepy.
There's an old Bible even farther back in the attic, but when the music box starts playing a few more notes all by itself, they decide they've seen enough and leave quick.
I stop it. Wow, that's creepy. Okay, let's go down.
All of these things seem like the perfect indications of a classic haunting that I certainly would want nothing to do with, but I'm curious what you think. This house is most haunted. YouTuber Sandro Silva CS investigates the creepy place in this scary video. When they arrive at the house, they're immediately frightened.
Lá dentro? Ô, viado, por Deus, tem alguém vindo na janela. Ô, Sandro, por que eu tô solto? O que? Ô, Sandro, vamos sair daqui. Sandro, verdade.
O que você viu?
Sandro, eu vi.
O que você viu, louco?
Sandro, eu vi uma pessoa na janela.
But what scared them? Inside, they find no one.
Pra você, cara. Sandro, vamos sair daqui, ó. Não entra. Trava. Sandro, eu vi mesmo, cara. Ô, viado. Sandro.
Calma, Dé.
Isso aí, homem.
But then they hear a noise.
Estranho.
Vai ser lascado.
Cara, bateu com força aquele troço lá, cara.
And that's not the end of it.
Moça, eu tô com medo de ir na frente. Olha! Olha, Sandro!
Olha onde que voa essa cadeira.
Sai daqui, ó!
Nossa!
Nossa!
Nossa senhora do céu, cara. Começou já. Começou.
Was there a spirit in the room with them, or just a trapped animal? I think the sound is more spirited than scared. In fact, it seems to me like it's wanting to scare us. Davo Velkrat explores an abandoned building on YouTube Live when his expression is interrupted by a distinctly human voice, or at least something doing their best impression of one. Eventually, Davo tracks the noise to a single room not far away. He waits for another minute, hesitant to go any further, and sees a face poke around the corner, but when he rushes in, the person is gone. A closer look at the room shows that there are no windows or doors that they could have escaped through from where they were positioned. There simply should be no way for them to disappear, and yet they are gone, leaving Davo Velkrat wondering what the heck is going on. Cat videos can only be this creepy when they're from Russia. They leave the cat on the bed and go into the living room, which they think is haunted, and put down the camera. Caught on tape is some strange activity, perhaps paranormal, or really weird things to say the least. One of them is behind the chair moving things. I'm sure some will say,
Я не боюсь. Вдруг там что-то заснялось на видео. Ты давай теперь убирай. Я оставил туда.
I thought the same thing, but when I first showed them walking into the room at 1 minute and 2 seconds, you and I both get a glimpse under the chair. Nothing is there. Did they crawl under the camera after they put it down, or is something supernatural haunting the house like they claim?
Well, I found or saw a mysterious creature around 4 in the morning.
A YouTuber named Bishop has caught a creature on doorbell cam that he can't explain. The video looks like a bug, except Bishop says that the motion sensor absolutely will not turn on for insects of any kind. There are wings, but he says they could possibly belong to some kind of humanoid creature. Whatever it is, it does something really weird next after it lands under the bench. It just kind of, well, disappears. It doesn't fly away and it doesn't crawl under the bench. It just vanishes. Something that an ordinary insect wouldn't do. It could be time-lapse editing because the ground gets darker when it disappears, signifying that some time has passed. I'm almost positive that this one isn't real, but let me know what you think. YouTube channel The Haunted Side Paranormal Investigations asks, would you keep going? But before you answer that, here's some context. In this short video, they were exploring Sutro Tunnel Ghost Town in Dayton, Nevada. Watch and answer for yourself.
Watch the door here. Coming on.
Whoa! And this was only upon entering. If you crossed the threshold and this happened,
Coming on.
whoa! Would you take a step further? Me neither. Sarah Presley of Meet the Presleys apparently has caught a ghost on camera who is trying a little too hard to better know her and her family. It's past midnight when her son Josh turns off the lights. A ghost orb appears in the middle of the video at 2 minutes and 8 seconds, and then again briefly at 2 minutes and 13 seconds. When he crosses the room on his phone, the orb moves away from him. I think this light is from the screen of his phone. His mom, on the other hand, is creeped out beyond belief and pretty worried. Overall, I'm not sure if this video is paranormal or not and need your help to decide. A weird security video from southeastern Nigeria has been freaking people out since October of 2019. Animals seem to disappear in this haunted alleyway, and then it happens to someone who they've long suspected of being a witch. I think these security guards were bored and playing a joke. Notice how the yellow playback bar suddenly skips ahead whenever something disappears. It's pretty obvious that some editing has occurred, so my final analysis is no, this video is not real. What do you think though? While at the Miami Air and Sea Show, David Sugarman spotted something unusual while reviewing his videos. Watch closely and you'll see a vertical object fly up in front of the plane. David says he filmed the video in slow motion, so whatever this object is, it's moving fast. Let's see it again. While some Twitter users think this could be a drone, David says there were no drones allowed because of the air show. Most agree that it does appear to come out of the water, and it looks that way to me as well. It's definitely a UFO in that it's an unidentified flying object, but is it that kind of UFO? You know, the kind we all want it to be. I'm stumped on this one. Exploring with Danny is checking out the neighborhood and commenting about how deserted everything looks nowadays. He heads to a nearby park and is looking at the water when he senses something scary in the woods nearby.
Hello? Whoa, hello? Hello?
This mysterious figure in all white looks like some kind of zombie, or a witch, or at the very least a scary person up to no good. And there's also a mysterious red light glowing behind it that looks weird too. Danny runs from the strange encounter and realizes to his horror that he's being followed. Just when he thinks it's lost his trail, the maniac creature comes crawling at him at a really weird angle and speed that looks supernatural and really creepy. But here it just looks like somebody crawling on their hands and knees, so maybe it's not paranormal after all. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.